I'm Natalie Ignited. I'm an English teacher and I'm also perpetually curious. So go with me on a trip up Route 95. Most times commuting Route 95 through Baltimore, my eyes are closed and my mouth is asleep. While my husband is driving, what is there to see? Well, one day I said, what is there to see? And the process of my discovery would undress Baltimore right down to her underwear. I took photographs while my husband drove a conservative 55 miles per hour. Baltimore is not this stationary skyline of lifeless buildings. It is alive, simultaneously giving birth, growing, groaning, covering up, and living again. This Google Earth image reminds us that all of Baltimore is a working harbor. I never stopped to consider the magnificent web of water commerce that has gone on for centuries, touching exotic places like Japan and India. For example, here's a photograph of the Baltimore waste-to-energy plant that processes a staggering 2,250 tons of waste a day, with a generating capacity for the needs of 68,000 homes. Observant commuters can see cyclists on the Gwynns Falls Trail that wraps around. I was the sole pedestrian in this park setting among the bus terminal and factory, but in the nearby woods, the ground was raw, there was trash, stray cats, tin turkey roaster pans. I heard a cyclist say that a homeless encampment had been bulldozed this summer. I learned that Baltimore Homeless Services had worked for months to move the squatters, and a Facebook page was made to adopt the 24 cats who were also homeless. Many Baltimore natives attempted to give me a Baltimore for Dummies version of the life of this city. In its death and rebirth, this quiet shoreline will be developed into a $300 million casino entertainment district. Tell that to the men I saw carrying groceries in the woods. Just beyond is the century-old CSX Spring Garden Bridge standing perpetually open in the channel. It was once a vital part of the Western Maryland Railroad system, bringing passengers and supplies to the city. Developers envision a restored rail bridge that could become part of a 5.5-mile hiking-biking trail, connecting Gwynns Falls and looping around in front of the Westport development, the Middle Branch Park, and the Hanover Street Bridge. The middle branch of the Patapsco River flows under Route 95, and along its shores there is abundant life mixed with tremendous ecological damage. There is plenty of the best bird watching amid brown fields. Some people fish and crab, but there's also great health risk. So within seconds, we're all plunged into Fort McHenry's tunnel, the world's widest. Each inbound portal simulates daylight with high-intensity lighting and white pavement to eliminate the dark hole effect. The tunnels are cleaned on a 6-week rotating basis. Exiting, we're encountering the contrast of black and white, part of the enormous Canton Marine Terminal. This black building to the right is an old grain elevator considered state-of-the-art when it was built in the 1920s, testifying to Baltimore's dominance in grain. Now it's coal. These enormous cranes in the distance are recent additions, the Star Wars-like Seagirt terminal cranes, the largest of their kind. They'll receive cargo from the newly widened Panama Canal, and the harbor has been dredged deeper for the ships. The black coal is being readied for shipment to major world consumers like China and India. CSX Consol Energy ships over 12 million net tons of coal per year, the largest coal terminal on the East Coast. In stark white contrast are the piles of salt stored until winter by Ruckert Terminal Corporation, whose motto I, as a teacher, wholeheartedly support. Think snow. Ice is nice. This salt, 1.5 million tons of it is rock salt that is mined from the Tarapaca Desert of Chile, and solar salt evaporated from the Baja Peninsula. In a harsh winter storm, 600 trucks per day can be sent out to treat the roads and the bridges. Leaving the water and turning north to your right, you see the Baltimore Travel Plaza and a wedge of cemetery in the foreground. I dragged my son there for a look-see, and we discovered not one, but 5 cemeteries, some maintained and some in bad shape. Even next to the roaring highway, the cemetery felt isolated and eerie. In death, there is still change. To construct Route 95, many of the bodies were removed and reburied. The earliest burials on this land date back to the 1800s. I'm sure they thought these were eternal resting places. I examined the displaced list of bodies that was published in the Baltimore Sun. Curiously, the list ends not with a body, but with an amputated leg, first buried in 1926. I ended with the dead, but this project has taught me that the city is alive, and what appears permanent is only temporary. Here's the Hawkins Point hazardous waste landfill near the Key Bridge. I predict that it too will have a new life as a park and condos with the best views of the harbor. So who wants to invest with me?